Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that's happening inside your head right now. Yep, we're tackling one of the biggest questions out there, consciousness.
You know, it's that feeling of, well, being you. It's your awareness of the world. And believe it or not, it's still one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in all of science and philosophy.
I mean, seriously, have you ever actually tried to define it? It's like trying to grab smoke, right? It's literally everything you experience, but at the same time, it's nothing you can physically touch or hold.
So, how are we going to get a handle on something so slippery? Well, we're going to use a simple but really powerful analogy that's going to make this whole thing click.
Okay, just think of it like this. Your entire conscious experience, everything from the colors you're seeing right now to the thoughts bouncing around in your head, it's all like a private movie. And if you keep this movie in your mind idea with you, I promise, everything else is going to fall right into place.
All right, so let's dive in. If we're going to understand this movie, we first have to understand its most basic properties. It turns out, researchers have pinpointed 7 core features of consciousness, and we're about to break every single one of them down.
Okay, first up is something philosophers call qualia. It's a fancy word, but the idea is simple. It's the actual texture of your experience, the raw feelings. So it's not just about knowing a tomato is red, it's the actual subjective experience of seeing redness.
I mean, think about it. The sweetness of a pineapple, the feeling of warmth from the sun, the sound of your favorite song. These are the qualia. They're the basic ingredients of your reality. So back to our movie analogy, this is the rich, vivid color on the screen, the high-fidelity sound, the whole shebang.
Next up, number 2, subjectivity. This is the simple fact that every single conscious experience is fundamentally private. I mean, my experience of the color blue could be completely different from yours, and the crazy thing is, we'd have no way of ever really knowing for sure. So what this really means is that to understand consciousness, you have to have an inside perspective. A scientist can hook you up to a brain scanner and see all sorts of activity, but they can't buy a ticket to your mental movie. You are, and you'll always be, the only person in that audience.
Okay, number 3 is phenomenal structure. Now, your consciousness isn't just some random jumble of colors and sounds, right? No way. It's highly organized. You experience the world as a structured place, with clear objects in space and a sequence of events happening through time. This really shows that our minds aren't just passively taking stuff in. They are actively building a coherent world for us. So, in our movie analogy, this isn't just a random slideshow of images. It's a real film with a plot, a setting, and a story that actually makes sense.
All right, on to number 4, self-perspectival organization. I know, it sounds complex, but it's actually super simple. All it means is that for an experience to even exist, there has to be a someone having it. You know, a feeling of pain doesn't just float around in the universe by itself. It has to be your pain.
The philosopher Immanuel Kant nailed this when he said there's always an I at the center of it all, an I think. And this is so key for our movie analogy. Think about it. You're not just the audience member sitting there watching the film. You're also the main character that the movie is all about.
So let's move on to number 5, which is unity. This is all about how everything comes together. Just think about what's happening right now. You're seeing the screen, you're hearing my voice, maybe you feel the chair you're sitting on. You don't experience those as 3 separate things, do you?
Of course not. It all just melts together into one single, seamless reality. That's unity. In your mental movie, you don't experience the soundtrack over here and the visuals over there. No, it's all perfectly integrated into one immersive scene playing out right in front of you. Number 6 is all about intentionality and transparency. Basically, our conscious states are almost always directed at something or about something. You have a belief about your day, a desire for a cup of coffee, a perception of the room you're in. This aboutness is what philosophers call intentionality. And this leads to this really cool feature called transparency. Think about it. When you look at a green tree, you don't really pay attention to the green experience happening in your mind, do you? You just feel like you're seeing the tree itself out there in the world. It's exactly like looking through a perfectly clean window. You see the world, not the glass. Your experience is transparent.
And finally, we've arrived at number 7, dynamic flow. This one's pretty intuitive. Your consciousness is never, ever static. It's not a snapshot. It is constantly moving, shifting, and flowing from one moment to the very next.
The psychologist William James had the perfect phrase for this. He called it the stream of consciousness. Your thoughts just flow, one into the next. And this brings us right back to our movie.
Consciousness isn't a static photograph, it's a film, always rolling forward, one frame seamlessly leading to the next.
So, you might be asking yourself, how do we even know all this? I mean, how on earth do scientists and philosophers map out these features when the whole thing is as private as a mental movie?
Well, it turns out they use two different kinds of data that work together. First, you have first-person data. That's just you observing your own experience, literally watching the movie from your seat. Then you have third-person data. That's the stuff scientists can measure from the outside, like brain scans. That's like studying the projector, the film reel, and the wiring in the theater. And to really get the full picture, you absolutely need both.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. Let's recap and see how this private movie screening idea really does tie all 7 of these features together so perfectly.
Check this out. It really does all fit. The vivid colors and sounds of the film, that's its qualitative character. The fact that you're the only one in the theater, that's subjectivity. The coherent plot, that's its structure. You being the one who's watching, that's the self-perspective. All the sights and sounds blending into one scene, that's unity. The fact the movie is about something, intentionality. And the film constantly rolling forward, that's its dynamic flow. See? It all works.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought. These 7 features, they aren't just abstract ideas in a textbook. They are a literal description of what is happening inside your mind at this very second. So, take a moment. Pay attention to that private screening. What movie is playing in your theater right now?